Om Bhadram Karnebi Shrinuyama Deva Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatra Sthirairangai Stushtvagam Sastanubhi Vyashema Deva Hitan Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ. O gods, may we hear auspicious words with the ears while engaged in sacrifices. May we see auspicious things with our eyes while praising the gods with steady limbs. May we enjoy a life that is beneficial to the gods. May Indra of ancient fame be auspicious to us. May the all-knowing Pusha, the god of the earth, be propitious to us. May Garuda, the destroyer of evil, be well disposed towards us. May Brihaspati ensure our welfare. Om. Peace, peace, peace. We have started the second Mundaka. We're studying Mundaka Upanishad, the second chapter. The context is the student goes to the teacher and asks a very interesting question, a very deep question, that what is that, sir, by knowing which everything is known? And of course, since we are in Vedanta, we know the answer is going to be Brahman. But what's going on here? How can knowing one thing lead you to know everything? I mean, if you know Sanskrit, you don't know German. If you know chemistry, you may not know physics. So how can knowing one thing lead you to know everything? The idea is that if you know the material cause of something, then you know whatever the product is made out of that material cause. For example, if we know what gold is, then we know the reality of all golden ornaments. If we know what clay is, we know the reality of all clay pottery. In what sense? In this sense that whatever the ornament is, necklaces, rings, tiaras, whatever the ornament is, we can say for sure it's gold because we know it's made of gold. Whatever kind of pottery is produced, we can say for sure that it's clay because we know the material is nothing but clay. So we can say that whatever the pot is, it is nothing but clay. Whatever the ornament is, nothing but gold. In the same way, just as by knowing gold, you know all ornaments made of gold. Just as by knowing clay, you know all pottery made of clay. What is that one thing in this universe? Everything in this universe. What is that one thing by knowing which you know everything? So this is how this Upanishad begins. It's the same question in every Upanishad, but it's same subject, but it's approached through different interesting ways. So in this way, it is here in this Upanishad, it is approached as what is the ultimate reality of this entire universe, of everything. Before answering that, the teacher prepared some context. He said, you want that knowledge by knowing which everything is known. Well, knowledge is of two kinds. One is what you're familiar with, the lower knowledge, the relative knowledge, that by knowing which we know things in this world in detail. But then there's this higher knowledge, which you might call the Vedantic knowledge, Paravidya, the transcendent knowledge, supreme knowledge, by knowing which you know the reality of this entire universe. And now we know in what sense the reality. It is the cause of this entire universe. Cause means the material, the substance. Material substance is a crude way of putting it. That which is appearing to us as this universe. And there is a subtext here. There is what is the purpose of this entire inquiry? It takes you beyond suffering. It leads to fulfillment. This knowledge will take you beyond suffering. It will lead to fulfillment. This is the goal of Vedanta, moksha, nirvana, freedom from suffering, freedom from limitation. How will this happen? We know, because this ultimate reality which is going to be revealed here is you. So you are the reality which is appearing as this entire universe. Once I know that, nothing in this universe is different from you. Things in this universe come and go. Our bodies may perish, but that ultimate reality is immortal. It does not perish. So you are beyond death. Bodies are subject to disease. Mind may be subject to ups and downs and frustrations. But that ultimate reality from which these bodies and minds have come, that is not subject to disease. That is not subject to ups and downs and frustrations. And therefore, you are beyond disease, you're beyond ups and downs and frustrations, and so on. Basically, the entire universe is one with you. That will be the realization. Now, in this second Mundaka, finally, the teacher comes to the question which was asked, that higher knowledge. So he has prepared the ground. There is something by knowing which you can know everything, because that thing is the ultimate reality of the universe. By knowing that, you can know everything. Now, what is that? And that knowledge has to be taught. So that's what's going to be, he has already started teaching. The second mantra which we saw in the second Mundaka, last time we saw mantra 2, Mundaka 2, 2.1.2. Divyo hyamutta purushaha sabbhyabhyantaro hyajaha aprano hyamana shubhro yaksharat paratah paraha. He's teaching us about that ultimate reality. It's like gold for all golden ornaments, clay for all clay pots. What is that for the entire universe? He says it is consciousness. Divya, that's the shining one. Again, remember, and we are using words like consciousness or awareness, which has some connotation for us in English or in consciousness studies, which is the empirical consciousness. You are now seeing all this and hearing these words. So this is consciousness, but it's consciousness mediated through the mind and the senses. It's particularized consciousness, but there is something like pure consciousness or the original consciousness. That's what he's talking about. Divya, Yamurta, it is formless. It doesn't have a form or shape or sound or anything that can be objectified by the senses. Purushaha, the ultimate reality. So Purusha, as I explained last time, Purnam, one meaning of Purusha is the full. That means the reality beyond which there is nothing else, that which pervades the entire universe. That's one meaning. And there is another one, Purishayanatiti Purushaha, that which resides in this body-mind complex. What resides in this body-mind complex? You do. You are there. So you are that Purusha. That is both inside and outside this psychophysical organism. Ajaha, it is unborn. Everything in this universe is born and changes and it dies. This is unborn, therefore it is immortal also. That which is not born cannot die, obviously. And then he goes on to say, aprano, it does not have a pranamaya kosha, vital sheath, the life forces. Amana, it does not have a mind. What does not have mind? Pure consciousness. Shubhraha, it is not affected, it is pure, it's not affected by karma, causality. Aksharat paratah para, it is beyond Maya. Having said this, a question may arise that, how can you say that this pure consciousness, whatever you call it, the ultimate reality of the universe, from which the entire universe has come, and you are saying this ultimate reality of the universe is associated with the Maya, from Maya entire universe has come, then how can that consciousness, how can you say that it is without prana, without life forces, without mind, without senses, without capacities? Clearly we see, it's like saying you are consciousness, right now, and you are without a mind, without life forces, that means prana, without senses. That's just not true. You will say that, yes, I may be consciousness, but right now there is a mind. I have a mind and I have senses and I have life forces. And therefore, I am a jiva. I'm a living being. So this is the question. One must appreciate the question to appreciate the answer. It's a very stunning answer which he will give. Who will give? Shankaracharya. The Upanishad is going to say that, but Shankaracharya is going to draw out the meaning. First, appreciate the question. You have just said the ultimate reality of this universe is Purusha, which pervades the entire universe, which is in this body and mind, and it is pure consciousness, but it is without a mind, without prana, without senses. How is that possible? Because clearly it has I mean, whether that pure consciousness is there or not, we have a doubt. But mind is there, prana is there, senses are there, we have no doubt. And you are saying just the opposite. You're saying the reality is pure consciousness, no mind, no senses, no, so mindless, senseless, lifeless. What do you mean by this? If you appreciate the question, then the answer will make a lot of sense. It will be at least startling. So this is the question. And Shankaracharya, before introducing mantra number 3, he explains what's happening and what's going to happen. So I'm just going to read out what Shankaracharya says here. This is his commentary, the Bhashya, commentary on the Mundaka Upanishad, leading to mantra number 3, leading to the third mantra, just before the third mantra. Yasminstadakashakhyam aksharam samvyavahara vishayam otam protam cha katham punaha apranadi matvam tasyatyuchyate. So he says that pure consciousness in which there is Maya. Maya is the seed of this universe. Everything in this universe is included in Maya, is projected from Maya. So Maya is there. Therefore, the entire universe is in the seed form there. How can you say that pure consciousness, which is the reality of this entire universe, is without mind, is without intellect, is without senses? This is the question. Otam cha protam cha. The entire otam protam means woven, interwoven. It's mixed up, intermixed with this. So the ultimate reality is intermixed with this universe, or rather the entire universe is set in that ultimate reality. Remember, what are we asking for? The reality of this universe, the reality of myself, reality of all this. And he's saying this universe is, the reality of all of this is beyond, there is no mind there, there is no senses there, but clearly we have mind and senses. So this is an obvious question that will come up. Why did you say this? That the ultimate reality is beyond mind, beyond life, beyond senses. Now, what's going to happen? This is a crucial sentence. Shankaracharya says here, Yadi hi pranadayah pragutpatte purushaiva svenatmana santi tada purushasya pranadina vidyamanena pranadimatvam bhavet. Natu te pranadayah pragutpatte purushaiva svenatmana santi. All right. He says, if life, mind, senses, bodies, all of these existed along with pure consciousness, with their own independent existence, in that case, you would have said, yes, this pure consciousness has prana, life, has mind, has senses. But that is not true. The only thing that has existence is that pure consciousness, that Purusha, which you are. All these things, before their appearance, mind, before its appearance, had no existence of its own. This prana, life forces, before their appearance, had no existence of their own. They did not exist. And the senses and the objects of this world, this entire universe, none of it existed by itself before that, before they appeared. It's like saying, here is clearly a bangle, a bracelet, a necklace, a ring. How can you say gold has no bangle, no bracelet, no ring? Well, it doesn't. Before gold appeared to you as a bracelet or as a necklace, by itself, no bracelet existed. It's not that there was gold and it had a bracelet or it had a necklace. No, 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 no. Now the bracelet or the necklace have appeared before you, but you cannot say they existed before their appearance, just as gold always existed. They didn't. Earlier gold existed, now also gold is existing. Just what has changed is a form, and you have given a name to it, and you have given some activities to it, some function to it, and you call it a bracelet or a necklace. Similarly, what the claim which is going to make here soon is that the pure consciousness, this ultimate reality of the universe, that alone existed before this universe appeared. And that alone is now appearing to you as this universe. It's not that matter, energy, time, space existed along with that pure consciousness. It's not that pure consciousness exists along with something called mind and life and body and senses and universe. No. What is called life and mind and body and universe, all of this is nothing but that pure consciousness. It is, we are transacting with all the time and we don't recognize it for what it is. That's what is going to be said here. So he says, Tada purushasya pranadina vidyamanena pranadimatvam bhavet. So if they had existed, then you could have said the Purusha has prana, mana, the senses, indriyas, but they did not exist before their projection. And when they were projected, still they don't exist. It is the Purusha alone which exists. It's like before the necklace was created, the necklace didn't exist, but gold existed. And the most startling thing is, once the necklace has been created, in reality, the necklace doesn't exist. In reality, only gold continues to exist. But yes, in name and form and function, there is certainly a necklace based on the gold. Exactly like that. Before this universe came into being, there was Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. Then through Maya, this universe is projected. Matter, energy, time, space, living beings, and so on. But in and through all of that, it is Brahman which continues to exist and appears to us in all these ways. And a time will come, things die. Non-living things are destroyed, living beings die. One day the universe itself will die again. And so the universe will not exist anymore. It was Purusha, pure consciousness, which will continue to exist. The universe is not something that existed before its projection. It's not something that will exist after its dissolution. But it's also not something that really exists in between when it appears to us. What existed before the projection of the universe? Pure consciousness did. Purusha, you did. What will exist when the universe disappears? Pure consciousness will exist. Purusha, you will. But more interestingly, while everything is here, what really exists now? Pure consciousness, Purusha exists. That's what you are. So this is the higher knowledge which he is teaching. He says, therefore it is said, Shankaracharya says, Ataha, therefore it is said in these Upanishad says, Apranadiman paraha purushaha. The transcendent Purusha, the pure consciousness, is without prana, without mind, without senses. And then he gives an example. Yatha anutpanne putre aputro devadattaha. As Devadatta, whose child has not been born, is childless. Similarly, there is Purusha, whose universe has not been born, so he is without universe, even now when the universe is appearing. Now we will do mantra number 3. So this was the clue as to what's going to happen in the rest of the chapter. What's going to appear? A universe is going to appear. What should we keep in mind? It's only Purusha. When various ornaments are displayed to us, you can enjoy the ornaments, use the ornaments, you can identify the ornaments, you can call them by different names, but always know they are only that gold. Similarly, the entire samsara appears before us, including our own bodies, our minds. Our past karma is fructifying in our life. All of that will go on, has been going on, and will go on even after you get this Vedantic knowledge. But now we will realize, I am not this limited creature. I am actually like the gold which appears as all ornaments, like the clay which appears as the entire range of pottery. I am pure consciousness, which appears as not only this living being, as all living beings, and the entire non-living universe. So the entire universe is one with me. That knowledge. And of course, remember, all of this is experiential. It's not just a cool idea, a nice idea. Mantra number 3. Etasmad jayate prano mana sarvendriyani cha khang vayo jyotirapa prithvi vishwasya dharini. Let me read out the English translation by Gambhiranji Maharaj. Mantra 3. From him, that is Purusha, originates the vital force, as well as the mind, all the senses, space, air, fire, water, and earth that supports everything. From now on till the end of this particular chapter, what's going to happen is this: the creation of the universe, Srishti. Why is he going to talk about this? The reason is this: what was the original premise? If the question was, how do I know everything? Tell me one thing by which I know everything. And the answer was that there is this ultimate reality, which is the material cause of everything. That is, this is the upadana karana in Sanskrit, material cause of everything. If you know that, you will know everything. But I understand, you can give me examples of gold and ornaments, clay and pottery, and I sort of have an idea how the ornaments come from the gold, or how gold is fashioned, or names and forms are given and ornaments come, how the potter makes pottery out of clay. I have some idea. But then how is this vast and varied universe come from this Purusha, this pure consciousness you're talking about? That question will come. Unless you demonstrate how this universe has come from that Purusha, I will not be able to connect the two. So now, from now on, from Purusha downwards, downstream to us, this universe, this is going to be described. It's an ancient cosmology. Many Upanishads do this. Many of the Upanishads do this, and they each sort of confusingly, they do it in their own fashion, each in a somewhat different way. So Mundaka Upanishad is one of the Upanishads which does so quite clearly. Before we launch into this, the next few mantras, which will go on for today and the next class, I want to present that this whole process from Purusha, from the ultimate reality, the appearance of this universe which we are living in. What is the Vedantic cosmology? I want to present it in a capsule, like a short few minutes. I want to present what's there. And then we can go to the Upanishad. Where am I presenting it from? From a later Vedantic text, the Vedanta Sara of Sadananda Yogindra, which we have done, an introductory text to Vedanta. So what these later texts do is, they are based upon these Upanishads. They have taken the building blocks from these Upanishads, and then they have constructed a neat system. So sort of quite everything is sort of sorted out there, how this universe has come from ultimate reality, Brahman. So what's the theory? The cosmology. The idea is this: the reality is only one, existence, consciousness, bliss, one and non-dual. Then through its own power, Maya, it appears, the important word is appears, as this universe of ours. So the reality is only one. Maya downwards, downwards means from Maya to us here, all of this is an appearance. Appearance of what? Of that reality, of Brahman. And like the rope appearing like a snake, so like a dream world projected in our dreams, similarly this entire universe is a projection from pure consciousness. As the Vedanta Sara puts it, Vastu Satchidanandam Advayam Brahma Ajnanadi Sakala Jara Samuha Avastu. What does that mean? Reality is only the non-dual existence, consciousness, bliss, that is Brahman. That's the only reality. Everything from Maya downwards is an appearance of that reality. All right. Anyway, still, how does this appearance come about? How does Brahman appear as this world? It goes like this. Brahman, through its projecting power of Maya, it projects itself as the 5 primal elements, or original elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. So these elements are projected from Brahman. That projected means Brahman appears as these elements. Again, all of these are collected from Upanishads. So for example, when I'm saying from Brahman comes space, air, fire, water, where did you get it from? The Taittiriya Upanishad says, Tasmad va etasmad atmana akasha sambhuta. From this Atman, pure consciousness, appears space. Akashad vayu, vayur agni, agnir apa, adbhya prithvi. So from space comes air, from air comes fire, from that comes water, from water comes earth. And these are not the physical fire, water, earth we are used to. These are names for subtle elements which cannot be perceived. Then what happens? The story proceeds. These subtle elements, these 5 elements, they combine in various forms to form our intellects, minds, the sense capacities, all of these. So our internal world. You will notice here the entire story of creation is a very inside out story of creation, from consciousness outwards. First consciousness, then mind, then senses, then the body, and then body and the entire universe. So it starts with consciousness, then comes to the subtle level, the mind, then comes to the physical level, the universe. What is the scientific approach? The scientific approach is just the reverse. We say material universe appeared first. What we studied in school. So material universe appeared first. And from that, at some point, life appeared, the living matter. Simple animals, simple single-celled creatures, all evolved up to more complex multicellular creatures like us. And then nervous systems and brains evolved. Somehow, from those nervous systems and brains came mind and consciousness. So the story is from outside in. And in not just Vedanta, in all these Indian philosophies, the story is from inside out, from consciousness to this physical universe. So the subtle elements, they combine to form mind, prana, senses, and all of that. Now, that pure consciousness, in combination with Maya, the power of Maya, is called Ishvara, or God. And it's easy to understand why, because that is the source from which the entire universe appears. But this Maya can be subdivided into parts. The pure consciousness cannot be subdivided, but the Maya itself has parts. So the pure consciousness, in association with the parts of Maya, are these will ultimately become sentient beings, us. What are these sentient beings like? Like our own experience in deep sleep. You, the conscious being, what is your experience in deep sleep? Blank. Consciousness experiencing a blankness, a nothingness. That is the condition of the sentient beings at the initial state of creation. Then the subtle elements combine to produce minds and senses. That consciousness plus individual Maya plus an individual intellect, Vijnanamaya Kosha, is what is called the functional sentient being, us. We become active there. Now, the process of evolution doesn't stop here. The 5 subtle elements further combine to produce the 5 physical or gross elements. Physical elements, the earth, fire, water, which we call earth, fire, water, those are produced. And by further combination of those physical elements, our worlds, the physical worlds which we see, planets and stars and all, and physical bodies of all living beings, and the food which we consume, and all of that is produced. And here we are. And the way Vedanta sees this is like this. Remember, originally pure consciousness existed, and now also pure consciousness exists, but with this whole appearance. Pure consciousness plus Maya is called Ishvara or Saguna Brahman. Pure consciousness plus one part of that Maya is called one Jiva, or the name there is Pragya. This is a technical name from the Mundaka Upanishad, Pragya. Now, that pure consciousness plus Maya plus all the minds, remember, minds have been created now, all the minds together, there's a cosmic mind. So pure consciousness plus Maya plus cosmic mind has the name Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha. And pure consciousness plus one bit of Maya plus one mind, one Antakarana, is now called Taijasa. Like we are, each of us, we are one Taijasa in our dreams. And then at the physical level, that pure consciousness plus Maya plus cosmic mind plus this entire universe together is called Virat or Vishwarupa. That's what Arjuna saw in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And at the individual level, that same pure consciousness plus individual ignorance, plus the individual mind, and this individual physical body, just like we are now, right now. There's a technical name for this. We are called Vishwa. That consciousness is called Vishwa. So there are many individual sentient beings, one cosmic sentient being. And each of us have these three stages: pure consciousness plus our deep sleep state, where we are in just a seed form; pure consciousness plus that seed form, plus the mind, our dream state; pure consciousness plus the seed form, plus the mind, plus this body, our waking state, right now, what we are right now. But the same thing is replicated at the cosmic level. There's pure consciousness plus Maya, Ishvara, Bhagavan, God. Pure consciousness plus Maya plus cosmic mind, Hiranyagarbha. Pure consciousness plus Maya plus cosmic mind plus the universal body, or Virat. That's it. We are done. It sounds complicated, but of course, it's not complicated. It's a far sort of simplified sketch of the universe. A simplified sketch of the universe. For what purpose? Remember, don't forget the purpose. The purpose is to realize that you are Brahman. So this is a sort of paradigm, a simplified sketch which is set out so that the inquiry can start. You can start from here and inquire, go back and realize I am that pure consciousness or that Purusha. And then our problems will be over, hopefully. Now, so this is the background. This is a sort of a neat picture. Now we will go to this particular Upanishad. You will notice one thing. As far as creation is concerned, there's always that pure consciousness, Purusha, and there will be a causal state of Maya, and there will be a subtle state of the mind, and there will be a physical state of the body. It's very easy to understand when we look at our own daily experiences. Your experience of waking, dreaming, deep sleep. So in deep sleep, you are that pure consciousness plus that one speck of that Maya called ignorance. And in your dreams, you are the pure consciousness plus that speck of Maya plus the dreaming mind. And in your waking state, you're the same pure consciousness with the causal body, subtle body, and physical body. That speck of Maya, that mind, plus this physical body. Just like that, think of the universe as having a physical body, as having a subtle body, as having a causal body. And beyond the three bodies, one pure consciousness. Just as you, beyond the three bodies, are that one pure consciousness. If you have followed all this rigmarole, you might have noticed one thing. If I am pure consciousness with individual mind, body, and causal body and all that, and this universe is pure consciousness with same pure consciousness, with the cosmic causal body, Maya, with the cosmic mind and cosmic physical body, but apart from the bodies, as pure consciousness, isn't it that I and the cosmic are one? Because I am that there's only one pure consciousness. This is the meaning of Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi. You are that. Not you as the individual being. You as the individual being are one among billions. Not even you as the individual mind. You as the individual mind are one among billions. Not even in the causal state. But beyond the causal state, you, the pure consciousness, and the pure consciousness which we call God, are one reality. Literally one reality. All right. Now let us come to the mantra itself. From that pure consciousness, with the power of Maya, etasmat jayate. What is born? Prana, the vital forces. Manaha, mind, the antakarana, inner instrument. Sarvendriyanicha, all the five, the senses of knowledge, the capacities for action, all of them come from that. How? How do they come? From pure consciousness, how does the mind emerge, or how do ears and eyes and stuff like that emerge? And he says, Kam Vayu Jyotirapa Prithvi. The five elements come first. Space comes, air comes, fire comes, water comes, and earth comes. The five elements. What is the story in between? I have already narrated it. The five elements combining in various ways form the prana, the mind, and the sense organs, and all those capacities. And then further, they will form up the physical universe. Prithvi Vishwasya Dharini. Prithvi Vishwasya Dharini. So ultimately the world, the earth, which holds up all sentient beings, emerges. One thing one might note here is that it seems to be describing human beings, five senses and the mind and all of that. There are a variety, tremendous variety of living beings. It seems they are not really interested in that. That is true. We are not doing biology here. We are not doing science here. It's a method to which the whole thing is designed so that we can get some traction on our experience and then trace our way back to our real nature as pure consciousness. What is necessary to describe here is this particular body-mind system. So that is something that's obvious to us. We can start here and then step by step trace our way back to our nature as the witness consciousness. That's all that is necessary. You don't have to describe the nervous system of eels or octopuses or something like that. No, not necessary. That's not the point here. Now, let me just read a little bit from the commentary of Shankaracharya, and then we can discuss it. Commentary of Shankaracharya to this mantra number 3. So he says, etasmat, from this, from which? From with this the entire universe originated. But from which one did the entire universe originate? Shankaracharya answers, etasmad eva purushat nama rupa bija upadhi lakshitat jayate utpadyate avidya vishaya vikara bhuta namadheya anritatmaka prana. Don't worry about the Sanskrit. It's just for those who like to hear the original Sanskrit of Shankaracharya and for my own benefit so that I can read it out and explain. So from this, what is this? Purusha, from pure consciousness. In association with Nama Rupa Bija Upadhi Lakshitat. Now this is, Sanskrit is so powerful that just a few words, you can, a whole philosophy is packed into it. Nama Rupa Bija Upadhi. This phrase is, one word for this would be Maya. What is Maya? It's a power. So does Brahman have powers? Pure consciousness have powers? Does it have certain capacities? If you say yes, then it becomes characterized. It is no longer nirguna, no longer beyond all characterizations, beyond all adjectives or descriptions. You can say then that ultimate reality has the power to create the world. You can say that. That's why he says upadhi. Upadhi. It's not really the adjective or the power of Brahman. See, when we say power, something has power. Then the power and the thing we're talking about, both of them exist. So, for example, we can say fire has the power to burn, or this light has the power to illumine. So fire has the power to burn, light has the power to illumine. Now the burning power of fire and fire are equally real at that level, same level. There is fire and it has the burning power. But it's not like that with Brahman and Maya. So this is Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta says Purusha, pure consciousness, that's the only reality. And this power is an appearance. It's like when we say, the classic example for upadhi is a red crystal. I wonder if, yes, this works nicely. Now, here, I have this. It's perfectly transparent. Now, if you put it in front of my red sweater, notice it begins to look red. It begins to look red. But it's not red. Notice the difference? Or I can use this. Now, it no longer looks transparent. You see the difference? It looks transparent now. Now it no longer looks transparent. It looks deep brown because of the presence of the book. Now, this is like pure consciousness, transparent. It has no color at all. Pure consciousness has no characteristics. But this book is called an upadhi. It has a color, a brown color. And when it comes into close proximity with this transparent glass, it appears to transfer its color to that glass. I'll repeat it. It appears to transfer its property, that brown color, to the glass. Now, those who are observing, they will feel the glass has become brown. The glass has a brown color. The classical example is Swatika and Japa Kushuma, a red flower, the China rose, and crystal. If you bring a crystal near a China rose, the crystal seems red. What is an upadhi? The Sanskrit word upadhi, it is split in this way, I'll translate. But first, it is split in this way. The upa samipe sthitva swiyan gunan adhatte. That which comes into close proximity and seems to transfer its own properties on something else, which does not have those properties. So a brown book cover coming near a transparent glass seems to transfer its brown color to that glass. Even when this transparent glass looks brown, it isn't brown. Similarly, the claim is that Brahman and Maya are related like that. Brahman is like this, Purusha or Brahman is like this, pure consciousness, and Maya is like that brown book. But you will say again, but the brown book exists. It comes near that glass and seems to transfer its qualities. In this case, Maya doesn't have any existence apart from itself. It's an appearance in Brahman. Make of it that what you will. So it has the power to make Brahman appear as other than it is. What does that Maya do? It makes Brahman appear as space and air and fire and water, and then starts a process within Maya of those elements combining and producing prana, mind, indriyas, bodies, worlds, and so on. And the same Brahman now appears as Ishvara, God, Hiranyagarbha, cosmic mind, Virat, the cosmic person. It also appears as individuals like us. So it says, so you can see Upadhi. What Upadhi is talking about? Nama Rupa Bija. Names and forms. So what does Maya do? It doesn't actually create anything, but it projects a network of names and forms. What network of names and forms? Which you are seeing right now. This which you are seeing. Another example is the computer screen in front of me. It's in front of many of you. Computer screen. Notice, it's just glass. It's a computer screen. But there's a network of names and forms on it. The various icons which have popped up in it. So the plain glass of that device, whether your computer or iPad, is now colorful and present with various kinds of pictures, each of which have names and meanings for you. Similarly, pure consciousness now appears as this very colorful universe to you. But at this point also, this glass where I can see all of you, you are not there. You are appearing there. But what's there is just the glass screen of the computer, nothing else. Similarly, Brahman is appearing as this universe. Maya is the seed, the collection of the seeds of all names and forms. Now look at this terminology, this phrase, Nama Rupa Bija Upadhi Lakshitat. Even the word Lakshita, pointed out or indicated, is also very profound philosophically, but we won't go there. Jayate, Utpadyate, appears, projected. And he says, how do you know it's not really produced? Because Utpadyate might mean actually produced. Brahman produces this universe. No. Avidya Vishaya Vikara Bhuto. It is in ignorance the transformation seems to happen. Just as in ignorance of the rope, it seems to have been transformed into a snake. In ignorance of Brahman, it seems to have been transformed into a universe. In ignorance of our real nature's pure consciousness, I seem to be an individual being with bodies and minds, with a body and mind, a sentient being, a jiva. Brahman appears externally to have become this world, and internally within us, Brahman seems to have become a jiva, which has not become a jiva. You are Brahman right now. This entire world of experience is not a world of experience. It is Brahman right now. But it appears like that because of the network of names and forms. Shankaracharya makes it abundantly clear in his commentary. Nahi tena avidya vishayena anritena pranena sapranatvam parasya syat aputrasya swapna drishtenaiva putrena saputratvam. He says that pure consciousness, did you not just say that the pure consciousness is without prana, without mind, without senses? But now you are saying that everything has been projected. Mind, senses, prana, everything has been projected. So how is it any longer without prana, mind, and senses? He says here, it's a projection in ignorance. Just like a person who does not have a child and sees his child in a dream and thereby does not become someone with a child. So aputrasya, the one who does not have a child, swapna drishtena putrena, by seeing the child in a dream, na saputratvam, does not become a person, a father or a mother with a child. Similarly, you, the pure consciousness, projecting a world and a body, mind, and senses, you do not become, you're not, it's not that consciousness now has a mind and a body and senses. No, it looks like that. Let me give an example which we all experience every day. In our dreams, we fall asleep. And in our dreams, we see things, hear, talk to people, go to places. In our dreams, how do we see? Our eyes are closed. How do we hear? Our ears, this ear is not functioning. I mean, at least we are not consciously connected to it. How do we walk? Unless you're sleepwalking, you are actually lying down in the bed. So in the dream, these sense organs of the physical body are not active. And yet we are able to see, hear, smell, you're able to walk around and talk. How? If you notice in your dream, you seem to be pretty normal. You seem to have eyes and ears and hands and feet in the dream, and they are all functioning, not like the ones which are sleeping on the bed. But we will all agree, in our dreams, they were not real eyes or ears or hands or feet. They were all nothing but the dreaming mind appearing in those ways. Nothing but the dreaming mind appearing as a body, as hands and feet and eyes. All the sense organs in the dream, all the body, every capacity in the dream was projected by the dreaming mind. That's an example. In the same way, pure consciousness projects this universe, and then apparently a physical body, apparently subtle mind, senses and all of that. Evam manaha sarvani chendriyani vishayaha chaitasmadeva jayante tasmat siddham asya nirupacharitam apranadimatvam ityarthaha. So he says, in this way, mind and all the senses and body and vishaya, the objects of the universe, they are all projected. And therefore, siddham, it is proved or it is established that apranadimatvam, pure consciousness by itself does not have mind, senses, body, nor is there a world to experience from the perspective of pure consciousness. Nirupacharitam, again, a profound word. If you ask, here is the funny thing. Oh, so pure consciousness does not have a mind, does not have eyes or ears, hands and feet. It doesn't have a mind. Then who is thinking right now? We are thinking, right? All of us are thinking. So you are telling me I am pure consciousness. Pure consciousness does not have a mind, but clearly I am thinking now. So who is thinking? You're saying pure consciousness does not have eyes, but clearly we are all seeing now. And you are saying we are pure consciousness. So we are seeing now with eyes. How is this possible? You're saying that we don't have eyes. So nirupacharitam, in the primary sense. If you ask the question, right now, in our day-to-day life, common sense, in this world, who is the one who is thinking, seeing, hearing, smelling, talking, walking, all the activities that we are doing now with our sense organs and our motor organs? Who is doing it? And the only answer can be that same pure consciousness, the same Purusha, but only in a secondary sense. It's exactly in the sense, if you say, in my dream, I traveled to, Las Vegas. In my dream, I traveled to Las Vegas. Now, in a dream, you travel to Las Vegas, but how? Secondarily. Uh, Actually, nobody went to Las Vegas. But the experience which you have, you had it, definitely. You as the dreamer, you had it. In a secondary sense, yes, I went to Las Vegas in my dream. Similarly, in a secondary sense, pure consciousness, in association with its projections. What are its projections? Mind, senses, body. In association with its projections, it is pure consciousness alone who is seeing. It's pure consciousness alone who is talking, walking, eating. Yes, that is true. But in a non-secondary sense, in the primary sense, actually, if you ask in plain English, actually what's happening? Actually, pure consciousness does not have mind, senses, or any of these body, right? Nor are there any objects to be experienced. And then he says, Yatha cha pragutpettehe paramarthato asanta tatha pralinaha cheti rashtabhya. Just as prana, mind, senses, body, universe, external universe, before their projection did not exist. What existed? Pure consciousness. And after they are destroyed, after the death or after the dissolution of the universe, no universe will be there, no bodies will be there, no minds and no senses will be there. Just as they did not exist before projection, they do not exist after dissolution, so also while they are appearing, they do not exist. It's only pure consciousness which exists. It's like saying, before the pot was made, what existed? Clay. Did the pot exist then? No. After the pot is broken, what exists? Clay. Does the pot exist when it's broken? No, no, of course not. But further, even when the pot exists, it actually does not exist. What happens is the name, the clay is given a particular form and a name pot is applied to it and it is used in a particular way. There is a name, there is a form, and there is a use. But the reality continues to be clay. Before the pot, during the pot, and after the destruction of the pot. Clay, 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 in all three periods of time. In between, what happens is, after the so-called projection of the pot, production of the pot, a unique name, form, and use appears. Nama Rupa Vyavahara. After the destruction of the pot, that name, form, and use is gone. But what is the reality all throughout? Clay. Clay is the reality all throughout. Similarly, what is the reality all throughout? Before the creation of the universe, pure consciousness. After the creation of this universe, pure consciousness. After the destruction of the universe, pure consciousness. In between, pure consciousness, but with an appearance of the universe. Before our birth, pure consciousness. Now when we are born with mind and body, we are pure consciousness. And after the death of the body, after, suppose, enlightenment, there is no more body or mind also, pure consciousness. But in between, whether you are enlightened or not, whatever, when we are living in this body, is an appearance of a body, mind, individuality. The difference is in knowledge and ignorance. In our ignorance, we do not know the underlying pure consciousness, and we think, I am this body, mind, this individual person, different from everybody else. Those who do not understand the clay, they will say, this is a pot, this is a jar, and they're different from each other. Those who do not understand gold will say, this is a necklace, and that's a bracelet. They're different from each other. They do not know the intrinsic reality, what is there. Those who know the intrinsic reality, will they be unable to distinguish between bracelet and necklace? No, no, no. They will be able to, just like any of us, they can happily distinguish. They know what is a necklace, they know what is a bracelet. They further know that both are the same thing. It is the same gold which was made into a necklace, given the name necklace and used as a necklace. It was further melted down, made into a bracelet, given the name bracelet, form of bracelet, given the name bracelet, and used by putting on your wrist. Name, form, and function changed, but the reality of it remained the same. Those who know gold will understand that. Similarly, birth, aging, death of the body. It's a name and form. Frustration, unhappiness, delight, desire, waking, dreaming, sleeping of the mind. It's a name and form. What's the underlying reality? Pure consciousness. Who is that? Who are you? In ignorance, body, mind. In knowledge, pure consciousness. Right now, right here. So that is the great teaching of this mantra. And then he says, what will happen in the rest of the chapter? Sankshepatāh para paravidya vishayam aksharam nirvishesham purusham satyam divyo hyamutta ityadina mantrena uktva. So he says the higher knowledge, paravidya, which has been asked for, has been said in brief in the mantra number 2. Pure consciousness without mind, without prana, without indriyas, which is beyond all causality. That has been said in brief. Now it's going to be expanded in the rest of the chapter. In details, they're going to show you, here is this universe, how it has come from that pure consciousness or projected from that pure consciousness. Why is he doing that? Mantrena uktva, having said this in brief in mantra number 2, the rest of the chapter, punaha, again, tadeva savishesham vistarena vaktavyam. It needs to be said with details, how the projection takes place. Sangshepa vistaro, very nicely has said this. Sangshepa vistarokto hi padartha sukhadhigamyo bhavati. When you say something, make the point in brief. In one sentence, let me tell you what the truth is. Tattvamasi, for example, you are that. Then expand upon it in great detail. When you do both of it, then the thing becomes understood. Just say briefly what it is, people won't understand. You are that. Sounds nice, but what is that? And how am I that? And what good does it do? But then you expound the whole thing through Vedanta Sara, the entire teaching. It takes 40 or 50 classes. And then you say again, that thou art. And now the understanding is entirely different now. It's very deep and clear now. So he says, it will be easily understood. Sukha adhigamyo. It is easily understood. If you make the point in brief, tell us in one sentence or one verse, and then tell us through the rest of the chapter in detail. Sutra bhashya uktivad iti. Just like aphorism and commentary. That's what he did, Shankaracharya did, The Brahma Sutras. The sutras, they are aphorisms. Very short, very cryptic. Now, if you want to know what it means, then Shankaracharya has given you an extensive commentary. So in brief, you need the sutra. Once you know the commentary, you know the meaning of the sutras. And if you know the meaning, then you don't need to carry around big books with you. You just have the sutras memorized, the whole knowledge system of Vedanta, if you know Brahma Sutras. The whole knowledge system of yoga, Patanjali Yoga, if you know the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. In order to know that, you must know the meaning of the sutras with the Patanjali Yoga Sutras with the commentary of Vyasa. In Brahma Sutras, you must know the meaning of the Brahma Sutras with the commentary of Shankaracharya and all subsidiary sub-commentaries. Similarly, Nyaya Sutras are there, Vaisheshika Sutras are there, Sankhya Sutras are there, but the original one is supposed to have been lost. Purva Mimamsa Sutras are there, Grammar Sutras are there, Vyakarana Sutras. If you know the sutras with the commentaries, if you have read the commentaries, then the sutras give you the whole knowledge system, like a zip file. In computers, you have zip file. Zip file by itself you can't use. You have to unzip it. Then the details will come. All right. Let's stop here. Let me look at the comments and questions. Sri Ram says, Mahavakya Prajnanam Brahma refers to the consciousness unmediated by the mind. And thus not the awareness we normally allude to, but requiring investigation. This is correct understanding. Correct. This is a correct understanding. This is here, Prajnanam Brahma, pure consciousness is Brahman. This is from the Aitareya Upanishad. Here, it is called Purusha. And here it's being pointed out. You, the consciousness, right now you are surrounded. You, the consciousness, you are surrounded by mind, intellect, memory, ego. These are the functions of the mind. You are further surrounded, an outer circle of eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue, and all integrated in a physical, biological body. And you think, this is who I am. But there are things which are surrounding you. You are, at your core, you are pure consciousness. And those things which are surrounding you, they are also your own projections through Maya. They are not something separate which have come to you. Niravora says, is Maya a unique concept to Advaita Vedanta? Advaita Vedanta has a unique take on Maya, but Maya is not unique to Advaita Vedanta. The Buddhists have a similar concept. Even Sankhya has a concept called Prakriti, which has more or less the same role as Maya, but there are technical differences. Girish says, net block differentiates access conscious cognition from phenomenal consciousness, feelings. Does phenomenal consciousness approach Vedanta's pure consciousness? No. Phenomenal consciousness and access consciousness both depend on pure consciousness. They are different capacities of the Antakarana, phenomenal consciousness and cognition, access consciousness. Ned Block, by the way, he's right here in NYU, New York University, in the philosophy department here. He's probably the leading philosopher of mind in the world, along with David Chalmers. Sonali says, if pure consciousness alone exists, then it can only interact, experience itself as its own projections and objectifications. Absolutely. What else is there? So only that one is appearing as all of this. From an Advaitic perspective, of course. Dimitri says, is Maya a constant element of... a constant I am that persists through the cycles of universes. The only constant, the only constant is amness, isness, and the I gets added as universes spun up, and therefore it limited only to the lifespan of each universe appearance. Does my Ishvara persist through cycles of universe appearance, or the new Ishvara for every cycle? All right. The second part is easily answered. Ishvara persists through all cycles. Pure consciousness plus Maya, that is called Ishvara. Maya persists through all cycles. In fact, it is Maya which undergoes these cycles. Maya projects itself into the subtle universe of the five subtle elements, and then further into the physical or gross universe of this universe. And at a certain time, this physical universe will collapse into the subtle, and the subtle will become enfolded back into Maya. After an indeterminate period of time, because why I'm saying indeterminate, the projection of Maya includes the projection of time and space also. So you can't say that between two universes there is a period of time. There isn't. It's we can say it's timeless. But so time, space, and causality are projected. Maya itself is time, space, and causality, and the universe is projected, goes through a cycle of projection, existence, and dissolution. And then again another cycle, and again another cycle, and so on and on endlessly. Consciousness associated with this process is called Ishvara. Now, one thing to understand here is, though Ishvara persists, Maya persists throughout the cycles. In one sense, Maya is eternal because it persists eternally. Another sense, it is not. Because the moment you're enlightened, you will see Maya never did exist, though it appears eternally. See, it appears eternally in time, but time itself is an appearance. From your perspective, enlightened perspective, there will only be Brahman. Even when you are experiencing the universe and when you are not experiencing the universe, there's only Brahman. So the I am of Ishvara will actually persist from universe to universe to universe. But underlying the universe is the I am of Ishvara. And underlying the I am of Ishvara is the original, the amness, isness. The ultimate reality is that isness, awareness, existence, consciousness. Michael Bird says, since our experience is just a fictional appearance in consciousness, much like the pot is really a fictional appearance in clay, then would the idea of Maya itself also be a fictional appearance in? Absolutely. Maya itself has the same status as its creations. I ask because that means there is a no how, why in the experience happening, because Maya, instead, this experience in this moment is the only way Brahman itself could ever be. Very beautifully put. This is very profound. There is no how or why there, because how and why comes with Maya. And we cannot further ask how or why Maya, because how and why does not make any sense from the perspective of Brahman. From the perspective of Brahman, there is only Brahman. And from enlightened perspective, only Brahman exists. Sonali says, can we roughly relate Maya or seed state of deep sleep to unconscious mind, dream state to subconscious mind, waking state to conscious mind as defined in psychology? Roughly, yes. Why not? Why not? Sri Ram says, Swamiji, is the seed state in an individual level same as avidya or ignorance? Yes. Which is said to never exist by Ajatavada. So if so, does this help our sadhana? So Ajatavada says that the universe actually doesn't exist. Brahman alone exists. In an ultimate sense, that is true. Now, will that attitude help our spiritual practice or our Advaitic inquiry? It depends. If somebody, the monks in Uttarakhand, how they understand it is, if somebody has intense vairagya, intense dispassion for the world, a very deep don't care attitude to the world and one's body mind and one's individuality. You can't say, I don't care for anybody else, but I'm going to take very good care of my own skin. Then it's not at all spiritual. It's just a delusion then. In that case, the Ajatavada doctrine, the world doesn't it appears, but it's not, there's no reality to the world. Brahman alone is the reality. That is a very quick or a shortcut. However, there are very few who are blessed with such dispassion from the very beginning. Therefore, the easier way would be for sadhana, the two other steps, Drishti Shrishtivada and Srishti Drishtivada. Drishti Shrishtivada, it says that it's not that the world doesn't exist. We keep projecting it as we experience it, just like a dream. In the dream, we keep projecting the dream. If you are not dreaming the dream world, it doesn't exist really. The dream world exists only because you're dreaming it. Similarly, the Drishti Shrishtivada says, this universe of your experience exists only because you're experiencing it, not apart from you, the experiencer. If that is also difficult, one step further, closer to common sense, Srishti Drishtivada. You take a common sense approach to this universe, or a scientific approach. Universe exists and we are thrust into it as this individual. Now I have to do inquiry into who am I and find out Brahman. That is easier. So whether Ajatavada will be easier, does it help or not? It depends a lot on the preparation of the mind. The mind is really prepared. For a very, very few people, Ajatavada is a straight route. It's direct, immediate. But it's easy to fool yourself that way. Sonali says, can white light appear as different colors be an analogy how Brahman appears in different forms? Yes, and as an analogy, it is fine. Shweta says, Maya has to be the imagination of Brahman. So Maya has to be connected with Brahman as the imagination is appearing in him. Yes, notice that Shankaracharya used the example of a dream, of the man dreaming that he has a child. It does not make him really a person with a child. Similarly, if you project an universe, it's not that the universe is really there. Project body, mind, senses. Not that pure consciousness now really has a mind and a senses and a body. No. So he uses this dream or imagination. Another example I have got is Sister Nivedita. She one day got this idea and asked Swami Vivekananda, can I think of Maya as the dream of Shiva? And Vivekananda laughed and he said, well, yes, have it your way. You can think about it that way. Priyanka says, Maya's projection of a web of names and forms can be taken as an appearance. But why can't Maya itself be a real power of Brahman? Is the power to dream a real power of the dreamer? Even the contents of the dream are not? It's a power to dream. You can say power to project. Fine. But it's, instead of saying then power to project, you can say then it is Brahman itself. It's the very nature of Brahman to shine in these ways. That much you can say, Gaudapada says. But if you see, here's the problem. Technically, if you set up Brahman with this particular power, then Brahman has an attribute. Power is an attribute. And then Brahman is no longer nirguna. Yeah. And then there will arise the question of the relationship between Brahman and its power. Real Brahman, real power, real relationship, duality. Not only that, further it goes on. Real Brahman, real power, real effect. So our power to dream is a power to basically, the mind projects itself as this world. Brahman does that. That's the very nature of Brahman. Gaudapada says that is acceptable. Brahman has the power to project itself. But it's not a power in that sense. It's the very nature. There's a difference between a thing's nature and its power. Swarupa in Sanskrit. Sangeeta says, if you can please comment on how this relates farmer and his dead son, as narrated by Sri Ramakrishna, the parable. Yes, the famous parable in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, where Sri Ramakrishna is illustrating what Vedanta wants to say. There was a farmer who dreamt that he had become a king, and he had 7 sons, 7 princes, and he was ruling a powerful kingdom and so on. Suddenly he was woken up by his wife, who was crying and said, our son, our only son is dead. Noticing that the farmer was not weeping, his wife berated him. How hard-hearted you are. You are not weeping for your dead son. And the farmer said, should I weep for this one dead son or those 7 sons who just disappeared when I woke up? Yeah. So that's a very drishti shrishti the way of looking at this universe, equating it with a dream. Neela ji says, in the example, the pot and the clay, there has to be a creator of the pot with some idea of creating the pot. How to explain this? Certainly. So Ishvara is the creator or projector of this universe, and Ishvara has lots of ideas about this universe. So Ishvara can create the universe in each cycle. Where do those ideas come from? Everything is stored in Maya. That's the idea of a seed. A seed has all the DNA, so it sprouts according to its own nature. Ishvara is like the witness. Because of the presence of Ishvara, Maya sprouts into a new universe, cycles through a universe, everything is dissolved, again sprouts into a new universe. And the cycle goes on, except the entire cycle is an appearance. That's what Advaita wants to say. Shivapriya says, just like dream borrows experiences from the experience of the waking state, similarly waking state borrows experiences from past karma, correct, which travels through not through reflected consciousness, but with the reflected consciousness after this body falls and gets another body, correct? Can we think that the universe and everything is dream of pure consciousness? Yes, we can. Prem says, in an exalted state, we are able to experience bliss consciousness. If consciousness does not have any aspect to it, how are we able to experience it? No, we cannot experience consciousness as, like the way we are experiencing a book or an ice cream or something. It cannot be experienced directly. In another sense, we are experiencing only consciousness. So everything that we are experiencing is a projection of consciousness. Consciousness appearing to itself in all these ways. When you say exalted state, what you mean is that in some heightened state of the mind, a very sattvic state induced by meditation or a very pure mind, certain exalted mystical experiences are possible. So is that an experience of consciousness? Yes, but just like that, everything is an experience of consciousness also. That's why these words are very important. When Shankaracharya said, nirupacharitam, not in a secondary sense. In a secondary sense, we are experiencing only Brahman and consciousness all the time. It's only in a secondary sense. In the primary sense, Brahman or pure consciousness cannot be an object to be experienced. Only when it is dressed up in names and forms, then it is experienced in these ways. Prem says, you mentioned that consciousness existed before everything, and everything resolves into consciousness at the end. If that is the case, who or what created? Nobody created consciousness. That's the thing. Consciousness or Purusha here is supposed to be fundamental. Why do we think someone has to create something? Because in this universe, everything is within causality. Everything has a cause, a creator. Because of this happened. This also happened because of something prior to it, and so on. But all of this chain of causality is appearing in pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is not a thing which has been created. It's not a product. Shweta says, Maya is the characteristic of Brahman, heat and light are characteristic of Brahman. Then Brahman is not really Nirgun. Yes, so if it was really a characteristic of Brahman, then Brahman would not be Nirgun. Brahman would be Saguna. So Saguna Brahman is admitted in Advaita Vedanta, but at one step lower than Nirguna Brahman. The ultimate reality is pure consciousness, Purusha, Nirguna Brahman. Good. Endless questions can be there because this is a very contentious thing. But always remember, this is a part of what is called pedagogy. This is a way of trying to show us something. It's not really making a scientific claim that the universe has to be like this. In your dream, in a dream world, we can develop a science, suppose. And that science may also work. It may explain many things in the dream. But what Advaita is saying is that whatever your science is, primitive or crude or sophisticated, the whole thing is a dream. There is an underlying, dream means there's a deeper underlying truth, which is appearing in this way. In this level, you can have a science, which will work perfectly, and that's good. In the realm of name, form, and function, science will work. But the whole thing, notice, science does not, even right now, does not have an answer to what is existence itself. Why does anything exist at all? And science does not have an answer to the mystery of consciousness. Why are we aware at all? And science does not have an answer to the question of value, purpose, good and bad. What is the point of it all? Does Vedanta have an answer? Yes. What is all this in reality? Vedanta says Sat, pure being. Why are we conscious at all? Because of Chit. The nature of that pure being is, he says, Divyo Purusha, shining. It is consciousness itself. And what is the point of this entire universe? Ananda, bliss. So Satchidananda is this underlying reality. So yeah, that's what Vedanta wants to say. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishnarpanamastu.